Hurricane Helene is over Georgia. Hello, I'm Mike Naso with this 2 a.m. Eastern Time late night video update, continuing coverage of Hurricane Helene. Made landfall around 11:10 p.m. Eastern Time, very near the coastline there in the Big Bend of Florida, near the city of Perry, as a Category 4 hurricane with 140-mile-per-hour winds. Over the last few hours, it has raced to the northeast into the state of Georgia, weakening, of course, now down to a Category 1 hurricane, but causing a lot of destruction. Here is the latest from the National Hurricane Center as of 2 a.m. Eastern Time on Hurricane Helene. It is moving quickly north-northeastward near Valdosta, Georgia, and it is causing life-threatening storm surge winds and heavy rain. It is at 31.2 north, 83.3 west. That puts it about 30 miles north of Valdosta, and that also puts it about 85 miles northeast of Tallahassee. Winds are down to 90 miles per hour with much higher gusts, so it's now a high-end Category 1 hurricane. It made landfall as a Category 4. It's moving north-northeast, well, I shouldn't say moving, it's racing north-northeast at 26 miles per hour. The pressure 955 millibars. It was somewhere between 938 and 945 when it made landfall. So it is filling in, it is weakening, but it's already hit land, so that's to be expected. Once it loses that rich fuel source of the hot Gulf of Mexico, it can be expected to weaken. Nevertheless, look at how well defined it looks. Look at that. The eye of a very dangerous hurricane over the state of Georgia is very rare. Georgia, you'd have to get it coming this way like Helene and Hurricane Michael, or you'd have to get them coming from the Atlantic side, sort of like a Hurricane Hugo track, but a couple hundred miles south. So even though Georgia has a coastline there and is in the southeast, you guys don't get hit by intense hurricanes very frequently, but boy, you are today. We have a lot of power outages going on. If I look at the map, look at this. Florida, we have 1.2 million people without power in this area of the Big Bend, extending all the way down to the Tampa area. Really, it's not until you get to Monroe County down there near Cape Sable and the Florida Keys where you can have power on 100%. And the same thing here, Bay County and Jackson, Washington County down to Walton on the Florida Panhandle, you guys are okay, but really much of the state here has just been shredded, and we'll see trees down, power outages, very bad news in Florida. Now, if we go up to Georgia, it's starting. Look at this. Wow. Look at how much of the state is without power, and this is down in the deep south. And that's a lot of communities down there, and it might be an extended period of time as this pools to the north with power outages. Now, the reason for that are these strong winds. Look at these wind gusts. This is from Grassy Pond, Georgia, very near Moody Air Force Base, not far from Valdosta. Look at this. 65 mile per hour gusts, 78 mile per hour gusts, 96 mile per hour gusts. Well into the Category 1 range, into Category 2. There was even a report of a gust to 133 miles per hour in Valdosta, and that would be a Category 3-4 wind gust. So we're going to have a lot of problems as time goes on. The water rise continues. The videos that we have seen, these nighttime landfalls are very eerie. Andrew, back in 1992, Category 5 near Homestead, that was a nighttime landfall around 5 a.m. or so. But Hurricane Helene's onshore flow has just been creating flood problems all along the west coast. We've seen flooding from Naples all the way up to the Big Bend, and Tampa Bay. Some of those gauges are breaking records with the amount of water they're having above sea level. And we've had reports of houses floating away in areas near Steinhatchee. Not a word from Keaton Beach, Horseshoe Beach. So we're hoping that everybody evacuated from the low-lying areas in the areas that did have population, because that water rise was very, very tremendous. As far as rainfall, look at what Georgia has had, 6 to 8 inches, especially over here in the eastern part of the state, and that's only going to get worse. Look at the flood map here. These are river gauges at moderate to major flood threat right in the area here where the hurricane's coming in, because we had the interaction with the trough. The trough kind of weakened into this low pressure here, and then we had the low of a Category 4 hurricane here, and the interaction between the two caused a lot of heavy rain prior to Helene. and so it's going to go downhill from there. Look at this radar image. All these flood advisories. What a mess. What a mess. And tornado warnings here in South Carolina. Be on the lookout for severe weather. Anytime you have a landfalling hurricane, you do have the risk of severe weather. We have a tornado watch box until 6 in the morning for areas there of North Florida, and until 8 in the morning for areas from Georgia, most of South Carolina, all the way up to Fayetteville in North Carolina. Again, you will have water rises as well on the East Coast, not anything near like the 20 feet on the Big Bend, but anywhere where you have an onshore flow, you're going to have water pushing inward onshore. So again, a very, very dangerous situation. There's been fatalities already, and actually I wanted to share this. The U.S. Coast Guard Air Station Clearwater saved a man and his dog about 12 to 18 hours ago. He was 25 miles off Sanibel Island, and his 36-foot sailboat became disabled and took on water. And the Coast Guard was able to save that man and his dog. It's very dangerous. Stay away from the water. Water's scary. Water's scary. It only takes 6 inches to lift a car. And don't drive. Remember the slogan, turn around, don't drown. That's the National Weather Service slogan. But what a hurricane. What an impressive storm. It looks good on this water vapor image, still holding its own. It does have kind of a ghostly appearance as it interacts with this low pressure here, and it's going to eventually slow down big time. And while the winds will weaken, I mean, it's already gone from a Category 4 at 11 o'clock all the way down to a Category 1 at 2 in the morning. It will weaken to a tropical storm, then a tropical depression, but it will bring heavy rain here towards the southeast and Tennessee Valley and exacerbate the flooding that's already been going on down there. But what an impressive hurricane. Hurricane Helene, a major hurricane, a rare Category 4 U.S. landfall in a hurricane season that everybody thought was a bust a few weeks ago. This is the 4th hurricane to hit America this year. Beryl in Texas in July, Debbie in the Big Bend of Florida in August, and then Francine in Louisiana, and now Hurricane Helene in Florida in September. And it's not over yet. It's not over yet. I'm Mike Naso. Thank you for watching continuing coverage of Hurricane Helene, a very dangerous Category 4 strike on the Florida Big Bend, now moving into Georgia. Flooding, storm surge, and high wind power outages, the works. I'll see you next time.